fast forward to now. We started doing the show back in November of me doing it on my own. And we've had some amazing guests and people who have spoken life into me while only reason I want to have this podcast is to give y'all flowers. You know, so it's been an amazing. That's how God work, though. He do. Let me tell you something, sis.
Yeah. That's how he works.
That's my guy.
You think that you're giving this?
Yeah.
Meanwhile.
Yeah. And so it was crazy, like the first 8, 9 episodes we recorded, everybody sat there and talked about leaving their job, stopping what they were doing to do something they were passionate about. Now, I'm going to tell you something else about me. I've been working for the federal government since I was 19 years old. I've had an amazing career. I've got to the point where people retire where I was at. You know what I mean? I was at the point where I'm fully taken care of for the rest of my life. My salary is going to go up every year. But I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy.
And that makes the difference.
It does. It does. I accepted a new position in the past year and a half that I thought was gonna be everything and more for me, and it wasn't. It was so stressful to the point where I started developing vitiligo in my face. So I'm losing pigmentation and melanin in my face slowly. I'm getting it fixed, girl. I got me a little somebody to go to a little laser. I feel like a bad bitch when I be in there. For real. She whipped out that little laser and I be like, y'all, get me right.
I'm here for it.
For real.
But it's crazy how stress can physically affect you.
It'll show up.
Yeah.
It'll show up
so
and knock on your front door and be like, I'm here.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Every time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I quit my job.
Yeah.
And the first thing I did, I talked to my wife. And what's crazy enough is the whole time that she was going through school, she was getting her MPA, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole time she's in school, I'm just like, baby, I got bills, I got everything, whatever you need, I got it, and you just focus on that. Focus on the baby in school, everything else, I got you, right? But I used to joke with her and say, but as soon as you get your degree, I'm going to retire.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And no bullshit. She got her degree last year in May. I didn't already quit my job.
That's a blessing,
Yeah. Yeah. She's already gotten a bomb-ass job. She's a director over at UAB. God worked. And
timing is everything.
He did. He made a way for me. Yeah. I'm getting paid my salary until September, and I don't have to show up for work no longer.
Wow.
So I get to live within my dream right now.
Yes.
Even if it's for a little while. Build. Exactly.
But that gives you the opportunity to build it.
Yeah.
And now it's okay, God is I'm giving you the provision.
Yeah.
But now I need you to build while I'm giving you the provision.
Yeah.
And then once that's over, you already be set up.
Yeah.
For the next, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because I'm a firm believer that the definition of success is when preparation meets opportunity.
Yes.
So I'm giving the time to prepare right now, to get the show in order, to get a few episodes out, to get content out there, to get my name out there in the city, put myself in front of people who are doing the damn thing, and people who inspire me, like yourself. You are inspiring.
Thank you.
You are incredibly inspiring. Even though I didn't know who you were before the event, the eat and greet with Ladarius. The second I followed you, I'm a stalker on the low. I think I like journalism.
I be like,
yeah.
Who all was on there? I'm like, okay, that was all. It's a good podcast.
That part. I'm like, it's good black folks in here. I'm following everybody. I'm throwing likes here, sharing there. I'm with it. But the second that you got on stage and you started speaking, I was like, I want to know her. Your personality you can gravitate to it. I can tell you like to party. I can tell you have morals though. And I can also tell the level of independence and I can do bad all by myself is top notch. Love it. Love it. I seriously love it.
Thank you. Even at the eat and greet or whatever, right? Ladarius was like, I'm gonna send you the picture. I'm gonna send you the questions beforehand. And I was like, okay, cool. Of course, I ain't get a chance to really you know what I'm saying? Go through them. And so I was like, all right. And then the day came, and I'm like, okay, I got there early because, I want to make sure that he had everything he needed too. So I'm like, okay. So then I started looking at the questions again. I'm like, okay, maybe I could talk about, but it wasn't me. I couldn't rehearse. You know what I'm saying? I'm just not that girl.
Yeah.
And so I was just like, Lord, I said, guide my tongue. God, my tongue. Allow me to say whatever it is that you want me to say.
Yeah.
And when I got up there, it was so funny because I was thinking to myself, like, dang, that was fire. But I knew it wasn't me. I was like, dang, God really be using me.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I was like, all right, ride the way.
You brought so much energy to the stage. Not to say that nobody else did,
Yeah.
but like it was almost like you radiated aura the second
Thank
you
you.
started speaking. And
Thank you.
that's a talent in itself. Most
Thank
people
you.
don't realize that, but that's a
Yeah.
talent in itself because that's what the gift of gab
Yeah.
brings people.
It does,
whether people
right?
know that or not.
I think the thing that's so crazy is like probably I don't know if it was right after that actually. The following day I went to church and I was talking. No, matter of fact, no. This had to be a couple weeks later because this was after my workshop.
Okay.
And so after that, I was at church and I was just talking to a lady at church and I was telling her how I had kind of poured into this man at my workshop because he asked a question. He was like, how do you, because I was basically saying how you won't immediately become a millionaire, right? We were talking about credit. So I was like, listen, it's a process. You're not going to wake up today and now it's like, oh, all right, I'm a millionaire. Now I'm wealthy, right? It's not going to look like that. But this is where it starts. This is our baseline. We get the credit in order. We work our way up from there.
Right.
And so he was like, well, how do you fight the feeling of like wanting to feel prestigious even when you're not there? It was that was kind of his question. And I was like, well, I guess the first thing you have to recognize is that, you know, you being prestigious has nothing to do with what you have, but all to do with who you are and whose you are.
Yeah.
You know, and so I was telling her about that conversation and she said, you have the gift of exhortation. And I was like, what's that?
The who?
The what? Exorcist.
Ain't no ghost in here.
What? I don't know how to cast out demons yet. I don't know about that one. I was like, what? And so I started Googling it. And I was like, and I asked her though, even in that moment, I said, what does that mean? She was like, basically, it's you having the gift to bring people closer to God and push them closer to their faith.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like encouragement, but it is you pushing them closer to God.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's me all day. Like I do that naturally without even thinking about it.
Yeah.
You know, and so then from there I started to research it more and I started to realize like that's really my gift for real, for real.
Yeah.
It's wild that I'm just
That's
now finding out at 30.
beautiful, though. Well, 30 will tell you a lot. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
When do you turn 30? Oh, you already 30.
I turned 30 in July. I'll be 31 this July.
Okay. So I turned 30 in October, right? And like, first of all, the check engine light on the knees came on the very next morning.
Listen, it wasn't my knees.
Yeah.
It was like my back. I was like, what's up with this shoulder? I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
My knees still there though.
Lucky. Mine terrible. And what's crazy is like we went out the night before. We went to Cabo. Which is crazy. I heard you say you was going to Cabo earlier. We went to Cabo and we had a time on the strip. We went out to like 6 or 7 clubs. And we was outside, for real outside.
That's me.
Yeah. I woke up the next morning. I said,
what happened?
I can't do that 2 nights in a row. We gonna stay at the resort tonight. Y'all wanna get dinner?
Like
Dinner
that's what
mojitos?
30 looks like.
Yeah.
30 looks like I need a break.
Yeah.
30 looks like I need a nap first.
Yeah.
But once I get that nap,
I'm on.
I'm gone.
I'm on. I'm 25 after that nap. I'm in.
I'm straight.
If I don't get no nap,
yes, I would.
I'm 31.
Listen,
I'm 31 on 30.
It's over.
Yo, it's over with. Halfway through the function. Hey, man, what time y'all trying to leave?
See?
Halfway through the function, what y'all trying to eat after this?
Right, because that's what it really
That's what it really matters.
Okay, because I got to eat.
That part.
But see, my friends, they joke now because they be like, Megan, like, once you get outside, we on tour.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to
Let's
go wherever we're going to go.
Yeah.
Then I'll be like, okay, where we going after this? And then
Yeah.
at some point, I'm going to have to eat. And then before you know it, it's like,
if I go somewhere with you, I'm gonna need that itinerary. Give me the first 2 places first.
I'm gonna have you the first 2.
That worked for me. That's
now
enough.
them next 2, I don't know.
We shaking. We just shaking. What's the move? We sending text messages. What's the move? What's the move?
Right.
Where y'all at?
Right. Because I already got to the first place and then started talking to everybody at the first place. And where y'all going next?
Yeah.
Everybody going here? All right, everybody, let's go. Like when I turned 30, I was in Cancun.
Okay.
For my birthday, and they was calling me the mayor because I'd gathered all the people that were there, and I was literally like, all right, y'all, meet us on the beach, 8:00. And it was
Let's
like
go.
30 people.
Yo.
It was wild.
Yo.
It was a good
I'm
time.
always that person if I'm in a group like, hey, we just make the group bigger.
Yeah.
Shots.
Let's go. And then, if you're at a resort.
Yeah. Free shots. Free shots.
Run it.
Hey, next round on me.
Yeah. On me. Let me get 30 shots of Don Julio.
On you.
On you.
That's how you know you're real drunk at the
Right.
resort when you telling the bartender, and they on you.
And them, ha ha ha.
And
Ha, ha. They sick of it. Get them out of
Never
here.
heard that one before.
Get them out of here.
Wait. We having too much fun.
I know.
I didn't even do my intro. That's my fault.
Do your
We
intro.
having fun. I'm gonna do my little intro. It's a little intro at this point.
Do your
We
intro.
already in that episode. Yo, welcome back to Talk Vibe Hustle, the podcast where we dive into the mind and passion of today's most inspiring people. Today we have a big one. We got my new best friend. I'm gonna go ahead and tell y'all right now. I got a new best friend. She in the building today. I'm gonna give y'all bestie. Bam. Hey, y'all heard it right here, live and local. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all the intro that I wrote, but I want to talk about something that's very important first. Our guest today was described using a word that I did not know, and quite frankly, that's very hard to do. Shout out to my pops, Scrabble champion of the world. That's not a real title, but he's good at it. So I'm just really good at words. Words are my thing. You were described as being vivacious.
Wow.
I had to go look it up.
Wow.
Vivacious being that your voice is attractive and loud enough, and your personality is drawn in through your voice. That's my paraphrasing of it because I didn't write it down. But
that's deep.
I like that.
That's deep.
I was like,
I like that too. I need to add that to my bio.
Yeah, vivacious. Take that one.
Love that.
Put that on the affirmation board. I am vivacious. And I was like, that's tough.
Vivacious.
I like that word. I like words that start with the letter V anyway, because they're usually very strong words. So vivacious.
That's
so
lit.
immediately the intro was written within that word. So take the time to go look it up for yourself, and here it is. Vivacious. Right?
Definition. I was like
photo, bam. But other than that, she's also the youngest female mortgage broker, correct, in the state?
Real estate broker.
Real estate broker in the state. Give it up for Miss Magan Battle. There ain't nobody in here. It's just us. Ain't nobody really clapping. But please give her a hand clap for my guest, please. I'm glad to have you here.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay.
Sure.
Don't make my podcast
I
sound
do.
big. So, the point of my podcast is I like to give people their flowers. I like to have an opportunity for people out there to get to know who you are. Yeah. And also to put our city in a good light. You know, sure. There's not a lot of positive things going on in this city. So I want to take every individual that I can and have them in their seat or go out to where they hustle and put it on Front Street. Give you your flowers and give people the opportunity to learn about you, hear about your story, and if they can get a gem or two about what you do. That's what we here for.
Love that.
So without further ado, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the beginning for you. I'm gonna let you have the floor while I take my drink. Shout out to you for bringing the drink. Hey, y'all see that? Hey, showed up with a drink today.
No, we like to bring the vibes. Let's see the beginning. Okay, well, I got into real estate because I missed my scholarship deadline. So I started off at Talladega for like a summer program because I was ready to like go ahead and get about the house like ASAP.
I'm hearing that.
So I lived like a week after graduation, gone, zoom. All right. I went from there to UAH, and UAH was stupid expensive. Like I had scholarship, I had, financial aid, but it still was
expensive.
Oh yeah. And so at that point, my folks were like, come back home, go to Lawson. I was like, I don't want to go to Winona College. I already graduated from there. I'm like, I don't want to go there.
That part.
And so I remember one of my friends called me probably like the same week my parents were saying this, right? And she was like, well, if you dance for Lawson, they'll pay full tuition. And I was like, I guess I'm finna go. I guess I'm leaving.
Yeah.
So I left, and that was my junior year. And then I went to Lawson. I graduated from Lawson, and it was time for me to transfer. And I was gonna go to UAB.
Okay.
And so at that point, I really didn't know like what I really wanted to do for real. For real, I was just like, I started off as a chemistry major, and I was like, oh no. I was like, this is not for me.
Yeah.
I was like, immediately, I was like, oh no. So I was like, let me just switch to business. I'll just get a business degree. I don't know what I'm doing yet, but hey, let me just get a business degree and call it a day. So I had graduated with my associates in business administration, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna transfer. I'm gonna go to UAB and just see whatever happens from there. And then I missed my scholarship deadline, thinking that they were due the day they were actually giving them out.
Okay.
That part. So, but it was because I was overwhelmed. I was doing too much at one time. I was like SGA. I was captain of the dance team. I was working full time.
Life was life.
Life was life. And I literally just didn't realize. And so with UAB, and I don't know if it's changed, but at that time, like you can only apply in the fall. So I was going to be out of school for a whole year at that point. And I'm like, well, what am I finna do for a year? Like,
that's so
wait.
long. Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, God, like, clearly we're not on the same page. So what is it that you want me to do? And I remember praying about it and asking God, like, show me what it is that you want me to do in this season. And it was literally like everywhere I went, I was seeing like real estate everywhere, in the sense of like, I would be at the gas station and it would be like, are you thinking about getting into real estate? And I would be like, you know how they have the little screens at the pump? Yeah. Are you thinking about getting into real estate? And I'm like,
me, Lord?
I mean, I wasn't, but am I now? Like, maybe, you know?
Yeah.
And then it was just consistent signs like that. And to the point where I was like, you know what? Why not? I'll go ahead and just get my license. And so I decided to get my license. And then when I got my license, I remember my first client coming into the office, and he was like, I already know what house I want. Can I come in and meet you? I'm like, yes, you can. Except. So he comes in. And he's going through so much at the time. Like, he had, like, a daughter that was, like, 9th grade, pregnant. They was in a bad living situation. Lord. It was a lot. And so, but in that meeting, God had me really ministering to him in that meeting.
Okay.
And when we finished the conversation, I can't even remember what I said, though. That's how I know it's not me.
Yeah.
But when we finished the conversation, he was like, you make me feel so much better. You make me want to go back to church. And I was like, wow. You know, it was like a light bulb that went off for me in that moment. Like, I'm really where God wanted me to be.
Yeah.
And then from there, it happened all the time, to the point where people consistently would come into the office and they would be breaking down, crying in my office all the time. And I was kind of blown away from it, because I'm like, why is this always happening
why
to me?
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even be doing anything. It's not even like I was prying. You know what I'm saying? They would just come in and they would lay their burdens with me.
Yeah.
And I would start ministering to them. And so from there, it became a joke in a sense, because they'd be like, my coworkers would be like, you bring your tissues into your appointment? Because I would be literally like, you know what I'm saying, praying with these people in my office, and they were coming for one thing, and now, you know, it's a whole nother thing, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of how it started. And then 9 years later, here we are with the brokerage.
Wait a minute. So was that keeping people in your office and like also selling, or I'm not really sure what the word is for real estate, and you actually accomplishing your job? Yeah,
so like I was an agent then.
Okay.
When all of this is happening, which it still happens now, but I was an agent. So it was like they were coming in to just talk to me about buying a house.
Okay.
And so when they were coming in to talk to me about buying a house,
in the midst of that,
wow, I end up ministering to them
you
in
can't fight
some way.
That kind of stuff.
No, you can't.
You can.
But see, for me, it's like I feel like it's almost like I can't help it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I don't even. If once they start breaking down, it's not even me anymore. It's like God is really, I'm just the vessel. Like God is really using me in that moment.
Yeah.
And like I say, it literally still happens.
That's amazing. So, okay.
Literally so much so to the point where they will be like, God sent me to you. The Lord told me to call you. And I would be like,
sometimes
me?
That scare me. Yeah.
Me?
Yeah, because that's how I get. I'm like, me?
Me?
Are you sure?
This sinner?
Yeah.
Not me.
This sinner is crazy.
Not me.
This sinner is crazy.
Not me. But it would happen all the time.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah. Dang, that's tough. That's a burden.
Yeah.
But
heavy.
like if you're meant to carry
Yeah.
it, your back is strong enough. No
Yeah.
matter how heavy it's gonna
Yeah.
get, your back is strong
Yeah,
enough. That's
sure.
tough though.
For sure.
So moving through that and transitioning there, you made your first sale within that, right?
Yeah.
So how was that and the feeling of that?
Yeah. Ooh, that one was a journey, first of all. We went through so much. It was so crazy. Somebody stole the stove.
No.
Midways through. It
No.
was a lot. It was a lot. Yeah. But
Dang.
we made it.
Yeah.
And when I got to closing, he actually didn't end up being my first. It was another lady that ended up being my first.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that once we got to that point, and I think at that point I had sold maybe like 2 or 3, and it got to a point where I was building up momentum, and I was like, okay, at this point it's hard because I was balancing a job still too, right? So I'm like, okay, I am balancing this full-time job, but now I'm starting to get momentum in real estate, and it got to a point where I was like, I gotta choose. You know what I mean? I'm either gonna build your dream or my dream, and I'm limited with y'all.
Yeah.
I'm not limited with myself. And I remember calling my dad at the time and being like, okay, Daddy, I'm trying to leave. I feel like God is telling me to leave. What do you think I should do? Because I remember one of my uncles at the time was like, don't quit your day job, Megan. Don't quit your day job. Yeah. And I was like, but I am. I am.
I'm actually feeling doing that.
Yeah, I'm actually feeling doing that. And then I asked my dad because I respected his opinion so much. So I was like, okay, what do you think I should do?
Yeah.
And he was like, Meg, you can always get a job. He was like, you can always go back and get a job.
Yeah.
He was like, try it. If it don't work out, you can always go back. He said, but you don't know unless you try.
Yeah.
And I put my 2-week notice. Well, matter of fact, no, I got to say this. So I asked God, Lord, if you want me to leave, make it clear. Make it extremely clear. I said, give me confirmation after confirmation. And I said, and don't allow me to mistake your voice. I remember being at the office, and I remember getting like a verse of the day, and it was like, be strong and courageous, for God is with you wherever you go, from in Joshua. And I was like, that's a little vague. I was like,
a little more.
I need one more, because that's a long.
I already know that.
I know that. I know you're with me.
Yeah.
That doesn't tell me to quit this job or not. I don't know. I need to be certain.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay, Lord, like one more. And I remember being at the office that next day, and it was like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with like Saved in the City, but it was they sent like devotional messages or whatever.
Okay.
And it was like, God will never ask you to give something up if he doesn't have greater in store. Greater is coming.
Now that, we call that a sign. We call that a sign.
Clear. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
And I put my 2-week notice in, and I remember having 2 deals that were under contract at the time. As soon as I put my 2-week notice in, they immediately fell apart. Both deals. Both of them.
I think I am a true believer that God has a funny sense of humor. He really does.
So funny.
He's hilarious.
Oh, he's so funny.
He up there kicking all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Knee slapper. All the time.
Exactly.
And I was sitting there, and I remember being so thrown off because I knew you told me to do this, right? And I remember going to church that following Sunday, and I went to Mount Canaan. I'll never forget it. I went to Mount Canaan by Winona, like behind the text. Okay. And one of my friends was like, oh, come with me to this church. My friend asked me to come, And I ain't never been there. So I was like, okay. And I go. And they had their first lady come out initially. And she was like, everything that you're going through right now is all for a reason. Keep in mind now, because I had these 2 deals that I just knew was about to close, right? I had just quit my job, and I had my check, I paid my bills for the month. After I paid my bills, I had 2 pennies in my account. 2.
Love that.
2 pennies.
Love that.
So when the deals fell through,
Ramen.
I was like, I know this is not for real. I know this is not the life that you have for me. And I remember going to church, and she said, everything you're going through right now is all for a reason. Yeah. And then after that, the pastor came out, and he said, what you have to understand is there is a difference between praying to God and then crying out to God. He said, yeah, right. He said, when we pray to God, it's a dialogue. It's a conversation. But when you cry out to God, it's because you have no choice. You have so much on you that you have no choice but to leave it at his feet. It was like, and some of you could be out of your situation if you cried out to God about it. So me, Lord, I'm finna cry right now.
Soon as you got in the car.
Immediately, I was like, Lord, you know I need you, Lord.
Yeah.
You know I need you. And what's crazy about it is that was Sunday, probably that Wednesday. Keep in mind, the deals fell apart off of nothing that I did. Okay, one person had one person maxed their credit cards out a week before closing. Yeah, a week before, maxed them out. Whoop, 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 swipe. Okay, the other one, and it plummeted his score.
Yeah.
So he calls me that Wednesday, and he was like, Megan, I got that worked out with my score. My score went way, way up. Call the lender and tell them to rerun it. Now what? Now what did you do?
Yeah. Who did you go see?
Because everybody that I had talked to about his situation literally was like, it was going to be a 3 to 6 month fix because he had plummeted his score so badly. But keep in mind, this is after I'm crying out to God about it.
Yeah, the Lord was listening already.
He was listening. So next thing I know, I'm able to get this man approved all over again.
That's crazy.
Literally.
What was he doing? He was scamming.
I ain't asked him nothing.
I ain't
asked him nothing.
Give me in with the right way. Wait.
I ain't asked him no questions. I said, okay, I had him rerun it. Day.
That boy was wrong for a couple days.
I said, I don't have no questions. And what's wild about it, though, is the fact that they got him approved all over again, right? But he was like, Megan, I thought we weren't going to be able to get the house. I went ahead and re-signed my lease, right. But I took that. But keep in mind now, while we were waiting to see if we could get him reapproved, you know what I'm saying, at that time, I remember like pacing the floor praying and being like, Lord, if you work this out, because we were like super close. At that point, we were like trying to see whether or not it was going to work out. Yeah. And I'm pacing the floor, and I remember saying, Lord, if you work it out, I'm cool, and if you don't, I'm cool. Because I see now you could do anything. You could do anything. And it was almost like God was saying, listen, I could open this door up all the way for you. Yeah. But even if I don't give you what you want, will you still trust me? Even if it don't work out the way you want it to. And literally, like I say, we didn't close that one. But after that, one by one, God just continued to elevate me and bless me. And here we are.
That's amazing. God is amazing, first of all.
Ain't he?
Because
wild.
Especially when you're in a predicament where there's no which way that it's supposed to work. And somehow we do.
Ain't
nobody but God.
Nobody but God. And he be wanting that though, right? He wants it so that we can have these conversations in retrospect and be able to be like, man, that was nobody but God.
Yeah.
Couldn't have been.
Yeah, couldn't have been. The man.
Yeah, the man.
It's like, it's crazy. Like my dad and like old heads used to say, like, I couldn't have planned it better myself.
Man.
And like being in a situation where like it happens in front of you, you're like,
wow. Yeah. That's how I feel about all of it. Even up until this moment with the brokerage is wild to me because I would have never planned it.
Yeah. So all of that happened. Like, is it okay to jump until now, or are there significant moments in there that we should cover?
I think that was probably the most significant moment from the beginning. And then from there, I just continued to, work, run, build, right? And build my clientele, love my clients. Yeah. And probably right around a little bit past a year ago, I started, maybe about 2 years ago, I started seeing the book of Joshua everywhere. Everywhere. Like literally to the point where like the way it initially started was like, one of my clients brought up the book of Joshua, like right as we was like getting ready to leave the showing or whatever. Yeah. No, matter of fact, it started with a podcast. I was listening to a podcast. I felt like it was a Sarah Jakes podcast. Okay. And they were, preaching from the book of Joshua. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a word. I had never read the book like in its entirety.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay. So that same week, my client mentions the book of Joshua. Like after our show, we just talking. She mentioned, I'm like, dang, that's kind of weird. Yeah. I'm like, again? I'm like, I might need to read the book Joshua. Yeah. I'm like, it's getting intense. So after that, it's Good Friday. I went and got in my Bible. Yeah. Prior to that, I'm reading it. And it was one particular part of the devotional. It was basically saying how Joshua helped deliver the Israelites into the promised land so that they could occupy the land.
Yep.
So I'm thinking to myself, that's what I'm doing. That's why he's showing it to me. Duh. That's what I'm doing. I'm Joshua.
I'm Joshua. Duh.
That's me.
Obviously.
But Lord, am I not already doing it? So
Yeah.
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say to me? So Good Friday comes.
Yeah.
The same client that I am literally talking to about it, we go see a house. We walk in. Joshua. Word art on the wall.
Oh, wow.
Joshua. We tripping out. We like, is this for real? So she calls her fiance at the time. She like, I think we found a perfect house. X, Y, and Z, da, 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 da. He said, do I need to run around the house 7 times until the walls fall down? Also, in the book of Joshua. He don't even know we even talking about
Wow.
this. He don't even
Wow.
know. He mentioned it. I run off. So I'm like, you can't be serious.
Wow.
So the same day I leave from there, I'm going to another client's house for a final walkthrough. I'm so shook off what just happened. I'm telling her about it. I'm like, girl, you will not believe what just happened to me. Like, this is why I'm late. I'm like, you won't believe what happened to me. I'm sitting up here telling her all of this story. Her little girl walks up and say, they got Joshua wrote on the wall downstairs.
Stop the cap.
I immediately
Stop
hit the flow.
Cap.
I hit the flow. I said, you can't be serious. And I promise you, I could call him right now. And I said, what? We go downstairs. Why is it written in chalk on the garage wall? Come to find out, their kid's name was Joshua.
Wow.
Right.
Wow.
It was so intense. It was insane.
Oh, that would have gave me chills.
Man, I was blown. From there, it happened so many times to the point where I would meet somebody. I randomly met a man at a art gallery. He's like, yeah, I send devotionals, time to everybody. He sent me a devotional that day, Joshua. It was so consistent. I was like, bro, what's going on? So I remember having this dream. And when I had this dream, it was like I was on this plantation. I'm a dreamer, by the way, big dreamer. That's how God talked to me a lot.
Fair.
So I had this dream that I was at this plantation. And it was like I was inside the house and this older man was walking me through and he was pointing out all this artwork and he was telling me about the history of the property or whatever. And I was like, okay. Then he took me outside into this field. And when he took me outside of the field, it was like at the front of the field, they were having this, it was almost like it was poetry, but they were talking about the history of the land. And we were in the back of the field and he was like, yep. He was like, they say it's buried right here. And when he said that, it showed me like a flash of like this big book buried in the ground. And I was like, so start digging? That's what I said in the dream. And then it flashed me to this scene. I don't know if you ever seen the show Wednesday.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know that they call the people with the powers misfits.
Yeah.
Right. So you know that scene where they are burn up the church?
Yeah.
That was it flashed me to that scene in my dream, but it was all black people that were getting burned up in the church. Right. The misfits, the people with the powers. So in my dream,
Wow.
yeah. And I was like, and so then it flashed me back to the field and it was like this revolution go on some Nat Turner type tip.
Yeah.
But it was like you had people that were dressed as slaves and you had people that were dressed as like regular people.
Yeah.
But it was like a revolution, like a revolt almost. And so I couldn't understand it at the time, but when I woke up, it was like almost God was showing me like it's finna be a revolution almost like God will be using me from a knowledge standpoint, right, in order to deliver them. And so all the time I thought that me delivering the people or being Joshua per se was about me, bringing them into home ownership per se. But after that dream, I kind of felt like it was more so about providing knowledge to my community in general.
Okay.
And changing our community from that standpoint. And then from there, once I continued to ask God, like, what's up? Like, what do you want me to do? I remember going, being on my way home one day and I was at a light and I just got on Facebook And I remember one of my friends was going live on Facebook or whatever, and he was preaching, and all I said was, "That's a word." I commented and said, "That's a word." He said, "Magan Battle. God said you finna be a broker."
Damn.
I said, "Who? Who? Not me." I said, "What?" He was like, "God said it's time for you to cross your Jordan." Also, Book of Joshua. Yes.
Wow.
Insane. And ever since, and then from there, he just continued to confirm it. I'm talking about another person called me that same week, was like, have you ever thought about getting your broker's license?
Yeah.
I just think you're bigger than where you are. Same week, agent tried to play me and was like, I'm gonna call your broker. And God has a real funny sense of humor, because he knew that was gonna make me mad.
Yeah.
He knew it was gonna make me want to say, "It's me. I'm the broker." From that to like literally him sending another prophet to be like, "I know you're scared, but God said do it anyway."
Yeah.
I know you're scared, but God said do it anyway. He said, "Go ahead." I had already got my broker's license at this point, but I hadn't gotten the company license. And I was just like, "Lord, do you want me to do this? Do you not want me to do this?" Because I just thought, maybe you just want me to get my broker's license. Maybe you don't want me to open up a company. Maybe you just want me to get my license. And I remember being on the porch praying about it, because once I posted that I had my broker's license, everybody was like, "What's up? What you finna do? What you finna do?" I'm like, "Nothing." I don't plan on doing anything. I don't want to do nothing.
Yeah.
And I prayed about it. And that same day, one of my best friends, family friend, was like, "Magan, I want to pray with you." And literally said, "I know you're scared, but God said do it anyway." He said, "Get that license so God can bless you like he wants to." And after that, I was like, I'm more scared of not doing it than I am of doing it.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was with the podcast. Like work was at a point where like I wasn't happy anymore. And then like all the stars were starting to align and essentially tell me that this is what I need to do. So like I feel with that. I can resonate with that. Can you answer a question for me?
Yeah.
What is the difference between a real estate agent and a mortgage broker?
Yeah. So as far as a real estate agent, well, as far as a real estate agent versus a mortgage broker specifically brokers out mortgages. So they're kind of like a middleman in terms of which bank you're going to go to as far as financing is concerned.
Okay.
So they're kind of like, okay, you can come to me and then I'm going to shop out different loan products for you. And then they're going to make a fee in between, right? Because they're shopping you out to different mortgage companies. But a real estate agent is there to help you find the house and then also guide you, in that process of finding the house. And then a real estate broker, it pretty much has there's two different lanes when it comes to that too. Like you can be a real estate broker and just hold your license as a broker and be able to say, okay, I have the opportunity to open my own company if I want to, but I don't have to necessarily exercise that right.
Okay.
But you can become a broker and also open your own company.
Okay.
And that's where the liability come in.
I can see that. That's a lot of liability.
Yeah.
So
because everything on you.
Yeah, I was about to say everything on you at that point. So as a mortgage broker, you're saying you're reaching out to these different lenders. Do you call like okay? Let me reference this. I used to be a transportation broker and a freight broker.
Gotcha.
So like a part of my job was to call military bases. Actually, crazy enough, in this very room when it used to belong to somebody else.
Insane.
Crazy, right? But I used to call different military bases and figure out what freight they had to move, and then we would take the freight and the amount of money that they had to work with. We would reach out to different trucking companies and be the middleman to put them together. Okay.
Exactly. That's exactly what you are as a broker. So, but like I said, you have a mortgage broker and you got a real estate broker.
Yeah.
And so for me as a real estate broker, that's what we operate as a middleman. So we are essentially helping people buy, sell, invest in real estate. And then, but by me owning the company, other agents have the ability to hang their license with me and work with my company.
We work with your company.
Yeah. Right.
So as the broker, is that a lot of going and seeing places before you have a customer for that place?
No.
Because I feel like that's kind of working backwards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, because at the end of the day, you don't have the time to do that. You know what I mean? It's like what we do. Well, what I do, I still sell real estate as well, right? But because I actually run the brokerage now, I have to kind of balance it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so what we generally do is we evaluate the needs of our client up front, and then based on their needs, that's when we go out
That's what you go
figure
out.
out what
Okay. I want to shadow you.
Do
I want to
it.
learn.
Come on.
I want to
Let's
learn. Like one of the main reasons that I am enjoying doing this podcast is
Yeah.
because I'm a very curious person.
Yeah, for sure.
And I am a very I think I'm good at everything.
Yeah.
I really, really believe that if you teach
Yeah.
it to me and I
Yeah.
learn it, I can be very good at
But
it.
you know, a lot of business principles apply across the board.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
if you can do this,
If
you
you-
can do this.
Tell me something. One of my
Yeah.
favorite rappers said, I learned some lessons as a worker, then I applied them as an owner.
Yeah.
And you have to sometimes. You have to.
It's different.
It's different.
Yeah.
It's different. So again, I'm a curious person,
Yeah.
so I just want to.
Come on.
I'm gonna do that. Now let me ask you this. I actually wrote this down as one of my questions. Can
Yeah.
I make it in your industry with one suit? I only got one nice suit. Y'all be dressed in M&F and tees, and I'm like, I got one nice suit.
You gonna have to at least get you about 4.
Get folk. All right.
But the thing about it is, at least if you get you 4, you
That's
can mix and
interchangeable.
match. You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's very
And then
interchangeable.
fake it till you make it. Get you one off Amazon.
That
Until,
part.
you know what I'm
That
saying?
part.
Make it
My
work.
problem is I done lost 40 pounds in the past year, so half my clothes don't
See,
fit.
you go to K&G. You can go to, you know what I'm
I
saying?
can go get right.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
okay,
then,
okay.
And then you can always dress it up. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? Nice cuff links. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Do
So
what you do.
I've always wanted to know, is that like a culture or is that like a must?
Oh, it's a culture.
Okay.
It's not a must. I think it depends on your clientele too, right? Like I have, you know, like I have agents who may go to every showing dressed up, right? And then I got agents who may go to their showing with, you know, athletic gear, you know?
Yeah.
And I think it also depends on your client as well, like
Yeah.
what their personality type is, because a lot of times perception is reality, right? So it's
Yeah.
like if I'm meeting a client for the first time, I'm not finna pull up in no jogging pants.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if it's 20 degrees outside, I'd have been out here with y'all 5 times, you like family, I'm coming in this sweatsuit
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. You would prefer to get to that point.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's
Yeah.
not going to negate my skill or my ability.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we family now. I'm gonna
Yeah.
make sure that you get your house and that you're protected. That's what matters.
Dang, that's awesome. So has there been a time where you feel like it was a rewarding situation as far as getting someone in a home or a family possibly?
Oh, every time it's rewarding.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time it's rewarding. I've never not felt like it was rewarding.
Yeah.
Every single time you get to the table, because it's like, you know, you've got to know this person all throughout the process, right?
Right.
Because we're having conversations every day. You know what
Okay.
I mean? Like, we're talking all the time. I know about everything y'all got going on. I know about your kids.
Yeah.
I know why you care about being in this school system. I genuinely care so much that it is a blessing and a curse to me a lot of times, because
Can imagine.
I could be up thinking about their situation
Yeah.
and they be sleeping good. You know
That's
what
crazy
I mean?
that you said that. As you were saying that, I was thinking you can possibly lose sleep because you care so
Man,
much.
what?
Yeah.
I'm talking about plenty of times.
Yeah.
Because you genuinely care. Like, and I think that makes a difference, right? And I
Yeah.
think that's something that, if I had to guess, that's something that all my clients can attest to. Like, I genuinely care.
Yeah.
To the highest extent.
Yeah.
I care about their well-being. I care about them getting into something that actually is going to build them wealth.
Yeah.
Like, I genuinely care. All my clients can tell you, we walk in and I know it's not for them.
Yeah.
They know I'm going to be like, nah,
I hear that.
I can't do this.
I hear that.
And this is not for you. So
Yeah.
let's move on. We don't even need to walk through.
Yeah.
Let's get let's get out.
Let's not waste our time here, people.
You don't
Yeah.
you don't want to be over here with all these pit bulls across the street. Come on, let's go. Don't you see that the back door is kicked in?
You
Come
weren't sure if there
on.
were gunshots when we pulled up. You weren't sure. Do you want
Let's
to always be unsure?
go. Let's go. You don't have to walk through.
Yeah. I personally think that I would make an amazing real estate agent.
Yeah, you got a great personality though.
You think so?
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure.
I used to work for this company called Cintas, and they're the company
Okay.
that go in. They have like the mats at the door. They do like the soap in the bathroom, the
Oh,
napkins,
okay,
all
okay.
of
We
that stuff,
talking
right?
about- mhm.
So at that job, you're allowed to sell to any of your places,
Oh.
right? And you have to audition in order to
Mm.
get a truck, right? So during my
Wow.
audition, the dude was like, what do you think sets you apart from everybody else?
Yeah.
And what makes you a good salesman? And I told him straight face, because I can sell fire on the hottest day in hell. And he was like, dang, that was cold. Like, he leaned forward. He was like, that was
funny.
cold. He was like, That's a lot of
That's
confidence
good.
to say that.
That's good.
All right. We gonna see. So
That's
like they put
funny.
me out in my truck, and for that my first month, I only worked there a month.
Wow.
But I was number one in sales.
Yeah.
Like we had a competition, like the
Yeah.
little dispensers that have a hand sanitizer.
Yeah.
And every business that you drop one of those off at, and they like agreed
Yeah.
to the contract, it was
Yeah.
$100 a month for the business, but that was $25 in my pocket.
So
And
you like,
oh, what?
let me run this up.
What? And everybody was
Yeah.
like, oh, I don't want to do that because we got to put them together before we take them out there. And I'm like, I'm going to get here an hour and a half early. I'm going to put together as many as I can. I'm going to throw them on
And
the
I'm
truck.
gonna run it.
And I'm finna run it.
That's
all
how I
day.
felt. That's how I felt starting out for
Yeah.
sure. Like I would call 300-400 people a day.
Might as well.
They told me when I started out on a team, they were like, listen, if you make this many calls, you can get this many appointments, you get this many appointments, you get this many closings. I'm like,
Say less.
okay, I'm gonna quadruple what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And they used to call me Little Hustler in the office because I would literally be there from like 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Like 7 in the morning. On my off days, if I wasn't working my job, and then when I left my job, oh, I was in there.
Yeah.
I was in there all day.
Yeah.
Literally. And I look back at those pictures now and I'm like, I was so broke. Hard work pays
Yes,
off, boy. Because
indeed.
I would be in there all day.
Yeah.
All day.
And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, as a broker, when you're in there, ain't nobody telling you to make these phone calls. Ain't nobody telling you like,
No.
hey, pick up the phone, make another call. Or like,
Nope.
you won't get paid. Like nobody
Nope.
doing it as a
Nobody's
broker.
doing it as a broker. Nobody's
Nope.
doing it as an agent.
Nope.
Period.
Yep.
Like as an entrepreneur, when you step off into this real estate world, it's all on you. You have the ability to excel and surpass what even you think is possible.
Yeah.
Or you have the opportunity to not do anything.
Yeah.
And statistically, most real estate agents sell like 2 houses a year.
That's crazy.
But I also think that that's because you have a lot of people that are part-time. You know what I mean?
Okay,
So I think that that's kind of how that balances out.
That makes
But
sense actually.
I can't survive with 2.
2 is crazy. How many
2 is
do you
wild.
average a month?
About 5.
Oh shit. God damn, girl. That girl got money. Hey, you single? Let me go and put you out there. Hey, get at my girl Magan
Yep.
Battle over here. You know what I'm saying? You ain't
Look at
gotta take her out. She gonna take you
Oh
out.
no, friend. No.
Backpedal.
Yeah, backpedal. Yeah, they gonna have to take me out. Yeah, okay.
You gotta take her out.
You got to come clean.
Hey, you gotta come with motion, twin. I'm
You
gonna tell you
got
right
to
now.
come with motion.
You got. Hey, I got a friend. Never mind.
Look at me.
We'll talk about that. Hey, I know supposed with some motion. Twin got motion. All right,
It matters.
We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that. Anyway, dang, this is amazing. We are having a great time.
Yes.
I got a couple of questions I want to ask you because I want to
away.
leave here less ignorant. I want to also like inform people because I
sure.
want to understand as well.
Yes, absolutely.
So, purchasing a home,
Yes.
don't understand the process fully. If I can
Yeah,
be really honest,
for sure.
I've been leasing for years, and it's probably more because I don't understand and less because I can't afford it.
Yeah.
Like right now, I will say we have an amazing situation where we're leasing to own.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I ain't gonna say nothing yet.
But talk. To
But
me.
I will.
But tell me some truth.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, this is my thought process. In a lot of the lease to own situations, right? And even beyond that, right? You end up having to spend a lot of money up front to get into those situations. So a lot of times they make you pay an option fee. That's like $5,000 down, $10,000 down a lot of time, right? So it's like you are paying for the option to be able to buy this property later, right? The problem with that is the fact that I got to spend this bread up front and I really don't even know necessarily what I'm getting into because a lot of times people don't get home inspections done when they go into those situations.
Yeah.
You don't even know what's what.
Yeah.
You're going straight into that saying, yep, you know what, eventually I'm going to buy this. And then now, wait
You
a
don't know
minute.
nothing about.
Is that ceiling about to come down? Wait a minute.
Yeah.
You haven't had a chance to even evaluate the property to really see what's what, right?
Yeah.
So that's my biggest issue, I think, in terms of the lease to own situations. And then, like I say, you're spending $5,000-$10,000 a lot of times up front just to get into that situation. The thing that I will say that I pride myself on the most is being able to get my first time buyers into their houses without paying a down payment.
Oh, that's love.
We don't. My clients get paid.
Yeah.
My clients get
tough.
paid. And on top of that, like, not only do my clients, a lot of times, I have clients get money back at closing. You know what I mean? And even if they're not getting money back at closing, they've barely spent any real money to get into their house. A lot of times, we're talking about maybe $3,000 or less. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times. And that's spent on earnest money deposit, which your earnest money deposit is going to go towards your overall closing costs, right?
Okay.
So that could be $1,000. That could be $1,500. It's a negotiable number, right? But because we're in Birmingham, in our Birmingham market, most first-time buyers, they may buy their first house may be anywhere from 2, 3, 350. You know what I'm saying? And in a lot of those situations, you can get away with $1,000 in earnest money. You can get away with $2,000 in earnest money. Anything that you don't necessarily need for your closing costs, you're gonna get it back anyway. Yeah. So outside of that, you're gonna pay for your inspections, you're gonna pay for your appraisal, but that's for your own good, so you know what you're getting into. But the thing about it is, if I can spend $3,000 to get into a house, whereas my lease option situation, I'm spending at least 5 to 10 to get into that.
I'm hearing you.
Okay.
Mistakes was
then
made.
On top of that, when you're getting into a rental situation, you're going to pay, right, to get into it. Then they want their payment right back the next month. It may be prorated that month, then they want it right back, just like that. When you buy a house, even if I spent that $3,000 initially to get into it, as far as your mortgage is concerned, let's just say you close in March. Let's say you close at the beginning of March, okay? You haven't paid anything in March, right? As far as your monthly payment, you haven't paid in March. You won't pay in April either, and it won't be due until May, and it's not late until the 15th. So if I time it right, I got two and a half months that I haven't had to pay for a mortgage.
And if you ain't living nowhere where, okay.
If I time it right, even if I spent $3,000, I'm up. I'm winning. Because if my rent is $1,500 a month, you see what I'm saying? I time it right.
Yeah.
I'm winning.
Okay.
So I think that that's the biggest piece. Like, when we look at that, the biggest thing that we've been able to bless our clients with is kind of knowing where the money is at. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There are grant funds that the federal government gives out to banks in order to help first-time buyers, in order to help, stimulate the economy and, give to affordable housing. And so when it comes to that, my job is to make sure that I'm aware of where the money at and my agents are aware of where the money is so that we can put our community onto where the money is. Because if I can get my client into a house with no down payment and no closing costs as a first-time buyer,
they're going to love you.
My clients is loyal, baby.
Yeah.
Loyal.
Yeah. And sending business your way, because
I'm referral based at this point. Like I don't have to do, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to do much to get business. Like I go live to communicate with our community and teach our community, but my business is referral based, and it's and I truly believe that is that way because I care so much about my clients, and we go hard to figure out where the money is at.
Yeah, that shows. Oh my God, Black, are we close on time? I'm sorry, man. Look at I'm looking at the time. All right, we had an hour. All right. I'm going to do my conclusion questions, but I definitely feel as though we're going to have to either do a part 2 or something else, friend.
I'm down.
Yeah?
I'm down.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
I think I got an idea for what I want to do already for another episode. But okay. I have 3 questions that I ask in conclusion to my guests.
Let's get it.
First question being, your future self comes through the door. You have 2 questions to ask. They can be ranging from, did the Ozempic work? Because somebody asked it, and I thought that was
oh my God,
hilarious.
That's funny.
All the way down to, are you healing from the trauma that you've been through? So some good questions have been asked.
That's tough. Let me think about that.
Go for it.
My future self is walking in. I get to ask my future self a question.
Yeah, and if you want a little bit more time to think, you can lay out what you're wearing. You can lay out what you look like if you want to. You can lay out this set, the nails.
She's a baddie.
Ooh. Oh, we know that.
She's a baddie. But I guess I would probably ask myself, did you think it would be like this? I think that even when I think about, like right now, right? Like I had no intent of being a broker.
Yeah.
Especially not owning a brokerage.
Right.
Especially not being the youngest in the city. Like, no intention.
Shout out to you.
No intention at all. But I think that even being in this place and watching how at every single point God is giving so much provision and giving so much favor, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And so I think that I probably would ask myself that, like, how is it being?
Yeah. That's amazing.
Did you think it would really be like this?
Yeah.
You know? Because I would have never thought that.
Yeah. Do you wake up every day and have to pinch yourself a little bit? I'm like, girl, I'm living in it.
Yeah, for real. I think it's pros and cons. Like, some days I wake up, I be like, man, I just know I ain't had to get signed up for this. And then some days I wake up like, man, what a peaceful life. You know what I'm saying? It's like I have my crazy days where it's like, man, there's so much going on. I got to do this, I got to do that, you got to do this. But I think that most days I look at everything that God is doing, and it's almost like, I was telling Darius the other day, I was like, I feel like in my mind, there is like a map in a movie going on at all times.
Okay.
It's almost like I can see how certain things will happen.
Yeah.
Like in real life, right?
Yeah.
And it's like a puzzle to the picture. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh man, that was supposed to happen because of this.
Yeah.
You know? And then it's like these scenes play in my mind like, man, the future gonna be like this because this is gonna lead to this, and then that's gonna lead to that. It's like a web, you know, and it's constantly growing every single day as something else happens.
I can definitely say I can relate to that. Like doing this podcast, like for instance, like when I saw that Ladarius was having that event, right? I was like, that'll be a great way to network. And then I sent it to him. And then when we got there and then like the panel, I was like, oh, duh. I'm going to reach out to all of them, duh. And then like everybody is so receptive to like wanting to. I don't know if everybody just always wanted to be on the podcast or they see some clips and be like, oh, I can get down with it. I'm not sure, but everybody's
I think
receptive.
it's a combo.
Yeah?
I think it's a combo.
Okay.
I think that you guys present yourself very well.
Okay.
For one, and I think it's very authentic also, you know. So I think that plays a big part in it in itself, like how it's set up. And I admire you guys like for everything that you're doing. Yes.
Thank you.
100% for sure. And I think that it's that combination on top of like good people are good people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's just how it's gonna be always. So I think it's that combo.
It's definitely a combination of the two.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Second question I like to ask. If you can have a song to describe your journey up until this moment, what would that song be?
Ooh, that's tough. Ooh, let me think about that one.
I'm a really big music person.
Ooh, that's tough. Ooh, I almost want to go through my playlist.
Just know that we can edit it. So if you want to sit here and think or pull your phone out, we can edit it. We'll fix it.
I'm trying to think.
And by we, I mean him, not me. I can't do that.
Right. I'm trying to think because I feel like
that's great tequila. If anybody was wondering, it's great. I love tequila.
The fact that we're sitting drinking tequila.
I love tequila.
I do too.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
For sure. We're gonna be real good friends.
For sure. I'm trying to think. Okay, because I am. Everybody what's funny about it is that my clients, a lot of my clients call me Pastor Battle, right?
Pastor Battle. That's tough though.
But it's like, I'm also still a fun girl. So it's like, it's hard because I'm still young. Like,
how old are you if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 30.
Okay.
So it's like, I know that. So I'm like, you know, I'm like, but I love the Lord so much. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm still growing, right? But so it's kind of like I have That's why I said I'm still a sinner. But but at the end of the day, I love the Lord and I know Him. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think that I got categories. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of like I got my gospel song, but then I got my.
You can give me two. You can give me for both sides.
Okay, I would say God Will Take Care of You by Leandria Johnson.
Okay. That's the answer from Pastor Battle.
Yeah, correct. And then I would say Dreamers Only by Don Tripp.
Okay.
I am the combination of hood and holy. I'm just like
that would be a fire club. Hood and holy.
Hood and holy.
Hood and holy be tough. Actually, Saturday night going into Sunday, gospel hit right at midnight. Hood and holy, boy, stop.
I am a true combination. Cause literally that is me. Like
That
for
need
real.
to be your Finsta. You gotta make a Finsta and name it Hood and Holy. That's
For
hilarious.
real though. Like that's what I was like. Cause when I think about the journey, it's like God has been so in it.
Yeah.
You know, he's in everything, obviously, right? But like
Obviously.
this journey has been so beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's like at every single point, like every time I be like, well, what about God? Or even before I even get deep into thought of what I'm gonna do about, God already has the provision, right?
Yeah, he
So it's
already made
like,
a way.
man,
Yeah.
every single time. So it's like I listen to that God will take care of you song, and it choked me up so often because I'd be like, man, God really has taken care of me in every capacity. Every single time I've stepped out on faith, God has been there every single point. But then Dreamers Only.
Uh-oh.
Dreamers Only reminds me that, you know, everybody can't tell you about your dream if they've never walked into their dream.
Yes.
How can you tell me about what I should or should not do if you are not following your own dream?
Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
And so I feel like, you know what I'm saying, that song resonates with me so much because it's like, how would you know what's best for me?
Yeah.
When you haven't
You ain't even done it. Yeah. You ain't
How would you know?
And it's a huge, it's a lot of courage that you have to take a leap of faith.
Yes.
Like,
and everybody don't have
and
it.
everybody doesn't have that. You know, I'm sorry, I'm going over on time for real, but I got to talk about this real quick. It was when I was quitting my job and making that decision, and one of my supervisors was kind of making it difficult for me to just leave the way I wanted to leave. And in his defense, the way I was leaving and how things were playing out, what he was doing made sense to help the team. But as far as me,
that's
not my concern anymore. And I hate to say it like that, but it's not my concern anymore.
It's real.
And like my wife had to tell me, you know, baby, sometimes people will give you a hard time because they're just simply envious of how brave you are to make a decision that they would never make. And it took her to say that to me, like,
you know what? You're right. Yeah. And I think that's the thing. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Everybody doesn't have the courage to step out on faith.
Yeah.
Because it's a big task.
It's a big task.
It's a big task. And you have to also look at like the norm versus what's not the norm.
What's not the norm. And to be honest, I've never met a podcast host that's successful and like, hey, I live off I've never met a person.
You know what's crazy about it? I looked it up like a few months ago because I was considering starting a podcast.
Yeah.
But they said that out of, it's like 4 million podcasts or something like that, right? But out of 4 million, there are only like 4,000 that have 8 episodes or more.
Really?
And that's insane.
Wow. That's a statistic.
Crazy.
Yo, we up.
Yeah.
We really up.
That's what I said.
Damn.
Yeah, you doing your thing,
I appreciate
friend.
you so much for that tidbit of information. That's going to get me through the rest of this week.
I promise you. The thing about it is, like, you guys are already consistent. You get what I'm saying? Like, you're already making the moves. You're already doing what you need to do. And you're allowing God to lead it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even starting this off with prayer, like, that lets you know, that let me know I'm in alignment. You know what I mean? I'm where I'm supposed to be. And so I think that whenever you allow God to be in it, he's going to continue to elevate you. He's going to give you everything that you need and more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas somebody else who's just doing what they're doing because they just like, oh, I want to do a podcast. Like, that part make the difference. And that's why it's only 4,000 out of them 4 million. Yeah.
Clip it and ship it. I want that one.
Clip it and ship it.
Okay.
Clip it and ship it.
All right, last question. Now that you sat through the interview, hopefully you've enjoyed your time.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm glad to hear it.
Absolutely.
Who do you think the next hustler needs to be to sit there?
Yeah. You know, I thought about that because Ladarius put me on to that.
Yep.
I was like, they're going to ask you. And I was thinking to myself, dang, that's tough. But I think LaDonna.
Okay.
I think LaDonna is who you need to talk to. Because LaDonna is also a hustler as well, right? But she's also taking that step, you know what I mean, to step out on faith as well. And honestly, like she is fire.
Yeah.
And what she do? She a stylist.
Yeah.
But she
Like clothes?
yeah.
Yeah? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. But when
Yeah.
I say made my life so much easier, first of all, I'm telling you, I'm so in tune with my work.
Yeah.
I will not think about what I'm going to wear until the day of.
I believe you.
It could be an
I'm
event.
like that.
I'd be like, dang, where I'm going to go? I guess I go to TJ Maxx. Because I'm
you.
focused on the work. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not focused on all of the other stuff. Like, there are a lot of people out here that literally only are having photo shoots for aesthetic. I'm out here really working.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't have time to be thinking about all this other stuff. I'm really working.
Yeah.
And so, but when I met her, and she came into my life, she made my life so much easier because she was like, okay, Megan, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. Okay, I like this. I like this. And I was like, I love that.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
I'ma
And
need her in my life.
she fire.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, men and women, like, I'm telling you,
Yeah.
top tier.
Okay,
Top
I'm
tier.
gonna need you to put that handshake
Oh,
together
yeah.
for me. I'm gonna need
Say no more.
that because
she fire. She the
I
go.
don't think I'd put it on today, but I be putting that shit on, friend.
I see you. You put it on. You put it on.
Yeah, yeah,
You put it
alright,
on. You
put
put
on
it
a
on.
little
Don't shortchange yourself.
For some
Don't
reason, I
shortchange
knew we was
yourself.
gonna match though.
Look at us. But yes, got to with her, darling.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
dope. She dope. She also understands that, you know, that stepping out on faith piece.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
You know, and we've all walked it, right?
Yeah.
And so she's walked it too. And she's walking it.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Okay, we're gonna set that up. Well, tell everybody where they can find you. Tell everybody if you're working on something. Go for it.
Yes. Let's see. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me on Facebook under Magan Battle, and that's Magan. Don't spell my name wrong. On Instagram, Magan Battle the Broker. And as far as things that I'm working on right now, we're just working on building the brand, you know, consistently doing that. We also have a few events coming up. So we have some partnerships lined up that we are very excited about. So we'll keep it on the hush until we.
There you go.
But collaboration over competition, that's what I'll say first. And we got a lot of collaborative efforts going on.
Yeah.
And we plan on turning the city up. So
yeah. I feel like you need to write a book.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That's what one of my best friends said.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm working on that.
Work on that book, friend.
For sure.
Okay. Well, this has been another amazing episode of Talk Vibe Hustle. I hope y'all have enjoyed yourself. Yeah. Please like and subscribe and check out with us next week as we got another guest coming. Peace out.